Notice if I swap cameras.
No, I didn't tell Caroline that.
It's a... How are you? How are you, sweetie?
Oh, good day. When you're down at Manchester, you'll have to come and see us.
Yeah, you were down at Manchester?
Right in Manchester.
Yeah.
You know where...
Is this for prosperity, or is it just for the days?
Oh, I think he's going to make a record of today.
Okay, done.
Travis is a man today. Yeah, it's not.
She's very much like her dad, Patrick. Well, he's grey now, but he was fair, very good eyes.
Very
Yeah,
Irish.
she's actually broken the clone with Mum and Mary and myself. She's broken the clone. But Maggie, the 10-month-old,
Okay, can you all talking so much, don't you? Anyway, I'd like to make a start and say, G'day Dupers! G'day! Oh, come on, you can do better than that. G'day Dupers!
G'day.
That's what I like to hear. Can you all hear me? My name is Duperrouzel, and I'd like very much to welcome you all today to the launch of Petrosellum, the global history of the families Dupérouzel, and as we say in Australia, Duperrouzel.
Or just Duper.
Or just Duper. It's great to see you all. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Janet, or Jan as you know her by, and also to our two daughters, Adele and Suzanne. Suzanne on my right. Where's Adele? She's at the back. They've just flown in from England 2 days ago, and I can assure you, given the events that are happening in the world today, Jan and I are absolutely delighted and very happy that they're with us here today to celebrate the launch of the book. It's wonderful to see so many people, so many family and friends here today. It's beyond my wildest dreams that this day has actually arrived, and I'm thrilled to bits. It's overwhelming to see the response, and I thank you all for coming. It's tremendous to see so many family and friends gathered in one place. In fact, I know that many of you have travelled vast distances to be here today. And I wanted to say thank you very much for coming, and also to welcome our interstate visitor from Melbourne, Siobhan Cornick, or Siobhan Bartlett as she is today. Good to see you, Siobhan. And also from Singapore, we have my nephew Alex Duperrouzel and Pippa, and the children Madeline and Jack. Where are you? Where are you? In the front. Now, it's great to see you all. Thank you all very much for coming, and we hope you have an enjoyable day. Having accumulated so much research material over the last 30 years, I could never have imagined that we'd be here today in this magnificent venue. As recently as the end of January, Jan and I were still trying to decide what sort of venue and where might we have the opportunity to actually gather in order to pass on the research that one has carried out over the last 30 years. I've lost my name now. And we're very grateful when the opportunity arose, and we're very thrilled and excited when the opportunity arose to actually come here to this magnificent venue of the new Western Australian Maritime Museum, which I think is a fantastic venue. Do you agree? Yes. So we're thrilled to bits, and I wanted to say thanks very much to Liam Bartlett, who has facilitated on our behalf from vast distance and secured this venue for us. Thank you, Liam. Thank you. I think we are very fortunate today to have two grandchildren of Julia and Amos with us today. And I'd ask you all to please welcome Mary Teresa Thomas. Where are you, Mary? Mary Teresa at the back. And also Julia Roma Matthews. Julia at the front. It's a great thrill that you're with us today. Julia Roma's daughter, Liz Herndon, has lovingly restored the rocking chair that is used by Julia, and she's brought it along for us all to see today, and I hope you have an opportunity to take a close look. And thank you, Liz, for bringing it along. Thank you, Liz. I'd also like to thank David Duperrouzel from the farm at Valeview at Quayland. Many of you may not know, and this is a great opportunity to tell you that as recently as about 3 weeks ago, David, was it? In starting renovations in the kitchen, he actually discovered one of the 3 medals which was awarded to Private James Duperrouzel, James Ross Duperrouzel, in World War I. And David has cleaned this medal up and brought it along for us all to see today. Thank you, David. This is the British Victory Medal, and it was one of 3 medals awarded to James Ross. And we hope, David, when you get on with the rest of the renovations, you'll find the other 2. I'll leave that over here so you'll have an opportunity to see it. Thirdly, whilst I'm over here, we brought from England 3 handkerchiefs which Olive Monckton kindly gave me many years ago. This one was Amar's. Olive, thought it came from France, but I tried to reassure her it came from Guernsey. And this other one has AD, the initials AD on it, embroidered by Julia and Amar's daughter, Louisa. And the third handkerchief was that which belonged to Julia Duperrouzel, and her name is written on the edge. So I hope you all have an opportunity to see those before you go today. Now, to coincide with the launch, we arranged 2 weeks ago for nearly 40 books to be distributed to members of the family around the world, and they've gone to 7 different countries other than Australia. And these books have been distributed to coincide with the launch. And judging by some of the feedback we've had from emails from those who sent the book, they have received them. Now, just before Jan and I left England to come to Perth last month, we air freighted a large quantity of books to Perth, and although they only took 3 days to get here, it took a lot of red tape and bureaucracy to get them out of customs before they eventually got delivered to Lisa. 10 days, in fact. So Jan and I were a bit nervous and anxious that they arrived before we did. But I'm pleased to say the books are here, and we look forward to unveiling them a little later. Now, as this is a global launch of Petrosellum, I'd like very much to extend greetings to members of the Duperrouzel family around the world who Jan and I are in contact with, many of whom we've actually met. So I'd like very much to extend a warm welcome to them. In Canada, I'd like to say hello to Lorraine Goodson and all her family, to her brothers and sisters, Ralph, David, Yvette, Paul, Peter and Nicolette, and to all their families. And in the United States, I'd like to say hello to Deanne Corrigan, her husband Joe, in North Carolina, to Stan and Julie Lake in Florida, to Hope and Robert Davis in Philadelphia, to Robert's mother, Jan Ball, and grandmother, Jean Couchard Ball, to Kath and Peter Duperrouzel in Florida, to their children, Patrice, Peter, and Brian Duperrouzel in New York, to Patsy Zaruba in Wichita, and her brother, David Duperrouzel, also in Wichita. I'd like to say hello to all the Drew family in America, and to the Lever family in Rochester in New York, and also to the Lever family in San Antonio in Texas. And a special hello to our family in Jamaica, to Tammy and Tony Duperrouzel in Kingston, and to their 2 sons, Max and Sean. And in England, Stacey Duperrouzel in London, to Irene Duperrouzel in Lancashire in Burley, to her sons, Stephen and David Duperrouzel and their families, to Pauline Fletcher in Wyndham in Norfolk, to her family, also in Lancashire, to Hilda Duperrouzel and to her sons, or to her son Gordon Duperrouzel and to his family. And in the Channel Islands, we'd like to say hello to Coral Cooper in Guernsey, to Lance and Mary Kuma and their son Maxwell, and to Claire Efgrove and to all her family, to the Heron family in Guernsey, and in Jersey, we'd like to say hello to David Ferry and to his brother John Ferry and to all their families. They are in fact direct descendants from the same family as Amar's wife, first wife, Betsy, from Jersey. At this stage of proceedings, I'd like to hand over to my wife Jan, who's going to send greetings in French to our cousins in France. After Jan, Bevan Carter, the president of the Western Australian Genealogical Society, is going to say a few words. He'll be followed by Gillian O'Mara, who is an historian, genealogist, and also a specialist in transportation of convicts to Western Australia. And then I'll come back and say a few more words about some of the discoveries that I've made over the years. So can you please welcome my wife, Jan.
Ok. Salut la famille Duperrouzel en France. Bienvenue, soyez bienvenus en Australie. Il est venu d'accueillir toute la famille ici en Australie, en Angleterre, à Guernsey, en Amérique, en Haïti, en Jamaïque et au Canada, au musée maritime à Fremantle pour le lancement de son livre Petrosellum, l'histoire mondiale de la famille Duperrouzel avec un R et la famille Duperrouzel écrit avec 2 R. Maintenant, je vous accueille, nos cousins et nos amis français, à cet événement ici en Australie. À la côté de la famille Duperrouzel avec un R, je fais 1000 amitiés à la famille au mini-but. Bonjour Suzanne Duperrouzel, Gilbert et Michel Ledoux, qui sont nos amis depuis une trentaine d'années, et Damien et Frédéric et toute votre famille. Bienvenue aussi à Yolande et Patrick Oulégan d'Anneville-sur-Mer et toute votre famille. En effet, bienvenue à tous les descendants de Victor Désiré Duperrouzel. En plus, j'accueille André et Marie Duduy de Coutances et tous les descendants de Pauline Marie-Antoinette Duperrouzel. Je salue des amis. Bonjour, Huguette Robin d'Octeville, Frédéric Lebon d'Hauteville-la-Guichard et Dominique Kremp de Coutances. Frédéric et Dominique sont liés à la famille Duperrouzel avec Duperrouzel. J'accueille aussi nos cousins de la famille Duperrouzel, qui sont nos amis de Bretagne. Tout d'abord, la famille Duperrouzel est Petrosellum. Je souhaite la bienvenue à Prosper et Marie Duperrouzel de Londivie et toute votre famille. Isabelle et Didier Renaud, Gladys et Télide de Romagné, la famille de Clément Duperrouzel et Gilbert Duperrouzel à Paris. Bienvenue aussi à Bernard et Dominique Duperrouzel, aussi à Paris et vos fils. Et à Marcel et Chantal Duperrouzel et votre famille de Saint-Malo. J'accueille aussi la famille Duperrouzel avec un S. Salut Guy et Annie de Vieux-Sur-Corignan et vos fils. Nous faisons un accueil chaleureux à vous tous. Cet après-midi, nous pensons à vous, même que vous n'êtes pas ici avec nous. On espère que ce vidéo vous donne du plaisir et que vous puissiez vous imaginer ici parmi nous en Australie. Nous espérons aussi, Bill et moi, que ce livre, cette histoire, donne à la famille l'occasion de faire des amitiés à travers le monde. Sur la part de toute la famille ici en Australie et ailleurs dans le monde, je vous remercie tous pour votre aide précieuse dans les recherches généalogiques. Nous en sommes tous très reconnaissants. La famille est fière de ses racines françaises. Maintenant, je vous passe à M. Bernard Cartin, qui prendra la parole. Bernard est le président de la Société généalogique ici en Australie de l'Ouest. Il sera suivi par Gillian O'Mara, chercheuse au sujet des détenus qui étaient comme Eva Duperrouzel, qui était envoyée ici au XIXe siècle. Après ça, il racontera quelques temps forts de son voyage et aussi quelques découvertes qui ont eu lieu il y a 30 ans. Je termine en vous transmettant tous sur la part de toute la famille ici et partout dans le monde, nos meilleures pensées et nos amitiés. Alors, je passe à Bevan qui parlera en anglais.
It's a great honour to be asked by Bill to say a few words on the launch of his book, and certainly I'm very pleased to do it. Thanks, Jen and Bill. As you can gather from the speech, I think we've got some French ancestors here. The first bit of information I found out about this book from Bill, one of the first bits was the fact that it weighed over a kilo. And I said to myself, good grief, someone's found their way back to Mount Adam and Eve before I have. Certainly all of those that aspire to trace our way back, our ancestors back a long way, will be a bit jealous that Bill has managed to track somewhere back to the 12th century. But flipping through the book, I find most of it is in fact about the family in the islands in the mid part of the 19th century. And that part of our history, where Angel was born around the 1830s, was the start, that's not long ago, it's the start of the settlers, when the first settlers came here to Western Australia. So he was born around the same time, and it's not long back. It is something like, probably what, Bill, your great-grandfather? Your great-grandfather. It is not long back at all. So I guess the one reason why I'm here as President of WAGS is to encourage all of you who have done research on your family history to get it into print. Because I can assure you that your children will not look so lovingly upon your shoe boxes and stuff with precious documents as you do. As soon as you're gone, they'll be in the rubbish bin most of the time. So while Bill has put 30 years of work into this and eventually got it into print, I encourage all of you to take it in a much more modest way, but to certainly get it down. Because one way or another, your descendants will eventually want to find out a little bit. And if it's in print, at least some of it gets through. We haven't got a terribly good oral culture in this country. And so the words of mouth, the precious thoughts that you pass on to your kids, often get lost very quickly. And our culture is more towards getting it down in writing. So I encourage all of you to do that. I did have a speech written actually, but I don't know if I stuck to it at all. Let's have a quick check. I would like to thank Bill for this great work. It is a different history. We concentrate so much as genealogists on our own particular family. But that family, once you start doing that work, you start getting the broader history, what I call the macro history we taught at school. And I think history at school would be much more fascinating if we started off with the bits about our family and started to broaden it out as we learned more. So I'd like to thank Bill greatly for putting out this publication. I know it's been a great dream of his to get it out there, and it's great to see it finally come to fruition. And I hope, Bill, that you all your dreams about will come true with regards to this book. And I urge everyone to have a good read. Thank you very much. I would now like to pass over to another genealogist who's been doing this game a lot longer than I have, Gillian O'Mara.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I too am pleased to see such a response for Bill and Jan. But I want to take you back a little way, and I want to say, what did Jan let herself in for? Bill started when he was single, so when she married him, she took this along too. Unfortunately for her, it's taken a little bit longer than Bill thought, but never mind. It is a pleasure to be here today. The book has been very well researched, not just in your family history, but in the wider history of the times, the places, and the events that were happening in the lives of your families and your ancestors. It has been so well done. I recommend that you take a look at that when looking for for your own documents of different parts of your trees. The time and effort that Bill has taken, it's very flippant and very easy to say, 30 years, and I can do the same. My little daughter is over there, little in size, not in age now, and my grandson. And she wasn't born when I started my family history. So Jan, you have my sympathy, because my husband's put up with it too. This book shows what can be done. What can be done is finding records not only for French records, like the Duperrouzel, but for court records and other records for the convict system in other countries. And it is really well worth looking at. I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity of meeting you both, and to the very best for your launch. And I would like to end with a quote from Plutarch, and I don't mean it derogatorily. It is indeed a desirable thing to be well descended, but the glory belongs to our ancestors, not us. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bevan and Gillian, for your kind words. And I'm very grateful also to you both for reading the manuscript, and would like to thank Gillian especially for writing one of the two forwards in Petrosellum. Thank you very much, Gillian.
My word.
There are two forwards in Petrosellum, one written by Gillian and also one written by David Leconte, who is the president of the Society Guernseyaise in St. Peter Port in Guernsey. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank David also for writing the second forward. Now, it's evident since the news got out about the book that there's one burning question on everybody's lips. What does Petrosellum mean? True? Well, it's no secret. It's no secret. Two things. One is, I'd like to say, the meaning of Petrosellum is not a herb. It is not a marsupial, which was suggested. And it's not a petrol station in France. All I could say is it's no secret that we've not wished to spoil anybody's pleasure and enjoyment. And really, when you read the book, it'll be apparent what is significance in Petrosellum. Now, there have been many, many exciting discoveries over the years. There have been so many exciting discoveries that, to be honest, I couldn't possibly relate all of these here to you today. Everything in Petrosellum to me has been and is exciting. I would like, however, to share some of the early experiences with you and some of the early discoveries, which were, and indeed at the end of the day, laid the foundation of many more exciting discoveries to come. I was in my middle teens, I think, when I remember asking my father, well, hang on a sec, great-grandfather, I said, why did he choose to come to Australia? The operative word being choose. Why did he choose to come to Australia? After all, and especially as he was French. And my dad used to be very vague about responding, and he said, I don't know, very little. He didn't give anything away. All he said was, well, I don't know, but he said, perhaps he came on a convict ship. And he laughed about it. But you know, at the age of 15, I didn't pursue that, but I do remember him saying that. So in 1970, when I set sail from Fremantle here on the Canberra with the boys to go to Canada, I was determined to see whether or not great-grandfather had a brother or relatives living in Canada, which after all is a French-speaking country. So, at the time, I sailed to Canada and worked throughout Canada and the west coast of the States. I relied solely on checking telephone books for that vital lead, telephone books. So wherever I went, I checked telephone books. And it wasn't until December 1970, when I was leaving New York to come to the Netherlands, that I actually discovered a Duperrouzel in the New York telephone book. And this Duperrouzel, Peter E. Duperrouzel, had 2 R's in the name. And I thought, crikey, are we related? And I desperately tried to telephone him from the airport before we left. Couldn't get through. Apparently he'd moved house. And at that stage, in my excitement, the heart, I tore the page from the telephone book and took it with me. And do you know, I have had a guilty conscience ever since. It's funny, in 1986 when I went back to New York, I took the page with me, but you know, I couldn't find the telephone book. But you know, it was whilst I was in England by this stage, I wrote to Uncle Ted Nannytop and said, look, have you got any information you can pass on, because I'm now on the hunt. I had a response from Nannytop, and she wrote back and said that amiable Searle, Duperrouzel, she thought came from a place called Coutances in Guernsey in the Channel Islands. And you know, that was the first time I actually knew my great-grandfather's name. Up until then, I had no idea what his name is. But it was very exciting to hear that news. So I looked at the map, and of course, Coutances is in Normandy, not in Guernsey. And at some stage, a little while later, I had the thought that, well, perhaps I'll ring the telephone exchange in Guernsey and see if there's any Duperrouzels on the telephone. And sure enough, there was one, Albert Duperrouzel, with 1 R. So I wrote a letter and I had a response back before I filled it. That led to contact with Albert's brother in Lancashire, Morris and Irene Duperrouzel, and to their families. And then I was on another role. But at this stage, I was very much keeping my brother Jack informed of all these exciting discoveries. And I'm pleased to say that Jack undertook research for me in Perth at that stage. And it wasn't long before Jack came back. And many of you may not know this, but it was Jack who came back to me in the middle of the night with an exciting discovery. I could almost hear his heart beating down the phone. He said, I found out that great-grandfather arrived in Western Australia on the 1st of June, 1858, on a ship called the Lord Raglan. And the cargo on the ship was listed as convicts. I could hear his heart beating down the phone, and so was mine. It was amazing. I travelled all around the world and to find out he actually arrived here as a convict in 1858. And I'd like very much to thank Jack for all that research he did on my behalf in those early years. Thank you, Jack. And as I said, Gillian said earlier, it's about this time that I met Jan. She said the words I wanted to say, and that is, she didn't know what she was letting herself in for. Because it wasn't long, because before, Jan and I went down to the Public Records Office and collected the full printout of the convict list on the Lord Raglan. And they were very exciting days. So it wasn't long after that I went to Guernsey in the Channel Islands and started researching and accumulated a wealth of information, but not just on great-grandfather, but also on all these other Duperrouzels that were there. And I had the pleasure of meeting Gladys Duperrouzel and her sister Daphne Horgan and her daughter Hannah. And they were tremendous in sharing with us what they knew about the family. As far as they were concerned, they were the only Duperrouzels in the world. However, I did discover at that stage it was apparent that his great-grandfather was married at the time of his conviction. And I was a bit anxious because I had the feeling that perhaps the Duperrouzels in Guernsey were descendants from his first marriage. I later discovered that wasn't the case. I then went on to Jersey and accumulated more research material, and also discovered in Jersey the existence of Alban Desiree Duperrouzel with 2 R's in the name. And later he went or emigrated to Canada. So that helped also to put this jigsaw together in subsequent years. It wasn't until I went to Coutances the next day in Normandy and started researching the family that I discovered many, many people with the name with 1 R and 2 R's in the name. And it was then that I realised that this is going to be hard work putting a family tree together. But nevertheless, I decided at that stage I would record everybody with the name Duperrouzel. The next day I went to St Albans Duperrouzel, where great-grandfather was born. And it was whilst there that I met a school teacher who spoke English, Jacques Yon, and he took me to a nearby village to actually meet people with the name Duperrouzel. And I had the pleasure of meeting Suzanne Duperrouzel for the first time, her son Gilbert and his wife Michelle, and their young children Damien and Frederick. That was indeed a great thrill. Gilbert was so excited. His father had passed away 2 years earlier, in the knowledge at the time that they were the only Duperrouzels in the world. So when I arrived, it was a great thrill. And we've been friends ever since. Since 1971, Jan and I have visited France many, many times and carried out numerous research trips. Countless hours spent in archives, communes, with numerous follow-up correspondence, letters, etc., etc. I have to say there was one occasion in the mid-1970s when Jan and I went on our own and camped in a farmer's field in a very small tent. We did some very good research. But on the last night, Jan thought, well, we've got this macaroni. Let's make this macaroni cheese. But there was only one problem. There was no milk. So we went to the nearby farmer and we got some milk straight from the cow. Have you ever tasted milk straight from the cow? Well, I have to say, the next day we were decidedly unwell. We missed our ferry, and I think Jan's patience with all these Duperrouzels and all this research was beginning to wear a bit thin. However, the next morning the farmer dosed us up with some coffee and kelbas and sent us on our way. Now, it's taken Jan and I many, many years to discover the name of the earliest ancestor. And that ancestor, his name is Raoul Duperrouzel. He's recorded in the books in Normandy from 1583. And we thought we'd like to share with you, perhaps having received a cassette tape from a dear friend of ours, Huguette Robin in Cherbourg, of old Norman French. We wanted to share with you a brief excerpt from this tape of what old French may have sounded like at the time of Raoul, 400 years ago.
Prêcher des ordres, dire le prêcher des ordres, écrire la canchon des ordres. Annie, y'a-t-il qui me tibouk? Chez-il l'arbre terti par la vouétie, chez-il l'ourme séti par le mort? Chez-il tien du bodement gardin que j'avise de ma poésie? Chez le nous, nautier. Mais chez tout bêtement un mamouni, pas seulement un châtaignier.
So is anybody game to translate that? Now, Petrosellum the book is in two halves. The first half covers the history of the family in France, and the second half is about emigration from France, following the lives of Aimar Cyril Duperrouzel and his brother, Denis Jacques, who went to Guernsey, and also to another relative, Orban Desiré Duperrouzel, who emigrated to Canada. In addition to the text, there are 7 family trees which fold out to ease the tracing of ancestors back to 1600. And I think there are about 18 generations. However, it would not have been possible to have written Petrosellum without the invaluable support of members of the family around the world. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those members of the family around the world who very kindly and generously provided material for me to include in the book. Thank you very much. Now, for me, coming back to Western Australia from time to time, I have to say it's quite an emotional experience for me every time I visit York. But also, it is quite an emotional experience for Jan and I when we go to Normandy to meet Suzanne Duperrouzel and Gilbert and Michel. I'm very fortunate in a way to have a foot in both camps, and I'm absolutely delighted. I'm not only proud to be an Australian, but I'm also very proud of my French ancestry. And I thank great-grandfather for retaining the surname and not changing it when he came to Australia. Now, whilst it's been a tremendous experience to research and to handle old records and archives, many of which date from the 1500s, and I have to say a lot of those records have a unique smell about them. They also show all the signs of big mothing, surviving floods, fire, World War II. Many of them are held together by elastic bands. And I have to say it's been a great privilege to be able to touch and feel and research those very old documents. But my most treasured memories are those associated with meeting people, family and friends, and establishing friendships around the world. They are my most vivid and treasured memories. For me, it is an amazing experience. It's given me a lot of pleasure, and I've really enjoyed researching and writing the book. But I'm in no doubt that what has sustained me throughout my life in researching and writing the book is my faith and my prayer life. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank God for the gifts I've received to be able to research and document the lives of our ancestors. I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank all the members of the family and friends who have helped today to set up and help Jan throughout in the last so many weeks to facilitate what you see here and experience today. Thank you all very much indeed. Jan and I would also like to extend an invitation to you all. Should ever you be visiting England, just let us know. We'd love to see you. Just look us up. All we want to know is when you're coming and when you're going. Now, trying to organise an event such as this, and the book orders and so on and so forth, from 20,000 kilometres away, is not easy. And when we asked my niece Lisa if she would like to be our Australian agent, she jumped at the chance. She never hesitated. And I have to say, Jan and I are absolutely thrilled and delighted with all the support and cooperation we've had from Lisa. She's done marvellous work for us, not only in handling the book orders, but telephones, emails, correspondence, and also, you may have seen as you came in, the graphics of welcome to the book launch. Lisa also prepared those. And we'd like very much to say thank you to Lisa and to give her a gift in appreciation of all her efforts. Is Lisa there? Would you like to come forward? Thank you. Now there are two very special people here today who have, in fact, or who were born into this journey of discovery, and that's Adele and Suzanne, our daughters. They have accompanied Jan and I on many, many trips to France, where they were little, all the way up. And I have to say, it was always a balancing act between doing research and at the same time having time for holidays. Jan and I are exceedingly grateful to Adele and Suzanne for all their patience throughout the many years of researching, and also for all their support during the writing of Petrosellum in 2002. And we'd like very much to give them a gift of our love and appreciation. So where is the bell? I've often been asked, what has been the single most exciting discovery? Well, there have been so many, it's impossible to tease out any one at the expense of the other. But what I will say is that the most important discovery I ever made was in Earl's Court in May 1971, when I met Jan. Jan has been with me on this journey of discovery as my translator, interpreter, and also as my companion researcher. And in addition to that, she's been the editor-in-chief of Petrosellum. I have to say, this book would not have been written without Jan's invaluable and immeasurable support. And I'm thankful to her for that. And I would like very much to give her a gift, an appreciation of her, all of her love and support, and say thank you. If I can. So thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoy the day, and God bless you all. After that, we will cut the cake. If you haven't seen the cake, it's over here. And then some greetings that have been received from overseas will be read out by Alex and Pippa. So we'll now unveil the book. You have to do this.
Are you running?
Do you want to move the pushchair? Are you on there? Okay? Yeah. No, dear. Ready? Okay. There you go.
Here, I'd like to congratulate Bill and Jan on this tremendous effort and putting so much hard work and effort into this over the years. Thank you very much. We're going to try and get through this as quickly as we can, but and Bill's given me strict instructions on how I should read everything out, but I'm going to start doing something different. Bill, this is a message for you. Take a little dream, buried deep inside your soul, just a tiny little dream, a tiny little goal. Then nurture it with hope and faith and courage too, but most of all believe in it, and then it will come true. We've seen all the hard work and dedication throughout our lifetimes. We're very proud of you. An inspiring and fantastic achievement. Well done and thank you. Lots of love, Jill and Suzanne.
To read the messages from some of the people overseas. I think unfortunately we need to read me. The first is from Frederick de Vaux in Ballon de France. C'est cher Bill Janet. J'ai reçu le livre
C'est fabuleux, merveilleux, étonnant. Merci beaucoup. C'est un travail impressionnant. They say that we received the book yesterday morning. It's in perfect condition. It's fabulous, marvellous, astonishing. Thank you very much. It's an impressive work. The next is from Annie and Dominique Crumb in Fremantle, France. Dear cousins, sorry but we can't be with you tomorrow at the party in Fremantle. Be sure it would have been a pleasure, but we'll think of you. The book arrived 2 days ago in mint condition. Thanks a lot, and I started reading it immediately. It's like a thriller, that's why I couldn't go to bed yesterday before 1:30 a.m. I couldn't imagine it would be such a comprehensive work. Dear Bill and Janet, what you have achieved is really marvellous, splendid, incroyable. You made me very proud of it. Congratulations. The next is from Nick in Cambridge, England. Dear Bill and Jan, although I know that the book launch will be a massive success, just a card with a bit of extra good luck, I wish I could be with you and I'm dying to know all about it upon your return. Once again, all the best and hello to all your family out in Australia. The next is from Anne and Roger Barnfield in Birmingham, England. Dear Jan and Bill, lovely to see you before you set out on your travels and to see the book in its finished state. Roger and I were very impressed. It was a terrific achievement and congratulations to you both for your perseverance. If I remember correctly, the launch is coming up next weekend, so this is a quick note to say we'll be thinking of you and hope it goes well and you'll have a wonderful time with all the other Duperouzels. The next is from Sue and Dave Pearson. May I send a message to Bill and Jan wishing them all the very best for Sunday. I'm sure you'll have a marvellous afternoon. Spare a thought for us, ripping off a bubble wrap here in Leighton Buzzard. The next is from Irene Duperrouzel, who's in Burnley in England. Dear Bill, well done, you've done it. It should make very interesting reading. You've worked hard over many years. What does Petrosellum mean? I take it to the Latin and Latin word, and Latin is not in my vocabulary. Hope you're all well. Have a happy, healthy year. The next is from Deanna and Joe Corrigan in Wilmington, North Carolina, to the USA. Hi folks, received the book Petrosellum and have my reading put out for me. Congrats to a job well done, and I'm sure many, many hours of hard work. What an accomplishment. Thanks so much for the quick response. From Patsy Zaruba in Wichita in the USA. Who was wondering if it's too late to order a family tree book. She is the daughter of Carol Perez Duperrouzel, and she says thanks again and have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Okay, this one is from Lorraine Goodson in Toronto. Enough? Yeah. Big deep voice. You must feel a great sense of satisfaction, well deserved, as I'm certainly aware of the energy and long years of effort that have been put forth to reach this stage. I can't wait to see the book. What is the significance of the name of the book? I am curious. Take care, Lorraine. This is from Mervyn Helen Bartlett and family from Cochrane, Victoria. Very sorry they can't attend, and best wishes for a wonderful day. This is from Tony and Tammy and family, Duperrouzel in Jamaica, and I won't try my Kingston accent, but many sincere, happy, awestruck and thankful congratulations for this magnificent work. This is a very special privilege and joy, and something we will treasure and hand down to our children for their children. We are proud of you, Bill and Janet, and all who helped you with this wonderful book. 3 cheers for Petrosellum. This is from Lance, Mary and Max Goma in Guernsey, in Channel Islands. Dear Bill and Jan, you will now be in Australia, so the best of luck with the book launch. Please keep a copy aside, inscribed inside by the author, of course. You all have a good time. Kind and affectionate regards, Lance, Mary and Max. This is from Julie Lake in Florida in the US. Dear Bill and Jan, good luck with the book launch in Australia. We'll be thinking of you and wishing we could be there. All the best, and once again, thank you for all your hard work on the book. It's very exciting to find out some of our history as our parents told us so little. Take care and good luck. Regards to the rest of the family, Julie Lake. This is from Nancy Ann in Cambridge. Wishing you good luck for the book launch. I'm sure it'll be a great day. Thinking of you all. Love, Mary Ann. This is from
Pam Gower in Devon, wishing you every success for the launch. Many congratulations on a great achievement. I know everyone will be full of praise when they see the book. So glad that A&S arrived safely and are with you for the great occasion. Best of good wishes, love to all, Mother, Granny. This is from Judy Reynolds Decker in Virginia, in the US. Hi Lisa, wish I was in Australia, would love a copy of the book. My connection to Duperrouzel clan is through my great auntie Mildred, the Scott, both Reynolds and Lindsay Clarence Duperrouzel, we all know them as Ted. Good luck, and if the book will be for sale, is there an ISBN number that you can give me or the publisher? Judy Reynolds Decker. This one is from Bob and Hope Davis in Philadelphia. Dear Bill and Jan, just writing to let you know that the 3 copies of Petrosellum arrived safe and sound on Friday. What a wonderful job you've done with putting together history of the Duperrouzel and Duperrouzel families. Thank you for your years of dedication and patience with this project. Petrosellum is a book that will be passed down and cherished in our family for many generations to come. I love to all, Bob and Hope. And lastly, this is from Robert E. Davis, the great-great-grandson of Orban Desiree Duperrouzel. Hello cousins. I wish my wife and I could join you for the launch of Petrosellum. Even though we can't be with you, we're thinking of you, the long-lost members of the family. How wonderful it is to know that we are all related. Please raise your glasses in small groups and large and join me today in toasting all of the descendants of Raoul Duperrouzel, brother of Marie. We know that Petrosellum will lead to many reunions in the coming years. We look forward to meeting all of you someday. Perhaps a bit of an unrealistic thought, considering our numbers and our distances from each other, but we are optimists. Now that we have Petrosellum, let us use it to help in our searches for further details of our immediate families and as an inspiration to us to record our own personal stories so that our children and our children's grandchildren can read those stories along with Petrosellum. Please be well and enjoy the book launch. Oh yes, we'll be staying up late to join you in a toast to all the Duperrouzels and Duperrouzels, past, present and future generations. It is 1:45 a.m. Saturday here in the USA, when it's 1:45 p.m. Sunday there in Australia. So please join us at some point during the launch. Love and all the best to you, Bob and Hope Davis, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA. I'd like to ask Christian Duperrouzel to come forward and give a toast.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Bill and Jan for the opportunity to give this toast in front of all members of the family. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all the Duperrouzel members here and all the Duperrouzel members of the family throughout the world, in both 1 hour and 2 hours, for both the past, present and future generations, to the Dupers. Hey! Everyone please charge their glasses to the Dupers. Can everyone please raise their glasses to the Dupers? Thank you.
Sorry, Ken, it seems like I'm paparazzi or something, doesn't it?
Bill said we should get a photograph
The 5?
Yeah.
That's what
video as well. Wendy, has Wendy been going around?
She's been going around with the book.
Getting people to sign the comments.
Wendy.
Oh no, it's a fantastic day. I mean, what can I say? I'm bowled over by the response, the turn up, the people, generous comments they've made. It's just good to see people sharing and having a good time.
You've done very well.
So all I wanted ever to do was to just document the family history and pass it on. It's there to be shared.
Lovely.
care, love. Take care. Good girl. That's the job.